Alright, so let me apologize for my super enthusiasm in that last video. It's just that I I don't remember this memory anymore because I buried it so deep, and to recollect it again, it's like, wow, I can't believe I experienced this, yet I don't remember it because I don't know, it was just something that I didn't want to have to speak again. But it's actually one of the biggest part of my lives. It's a big portion as to why I to this day haven't dated someone online or picked up someone using an online dating website or whatever. So let me explain. After the dating of Rosemary and Laureen, I started to get a little bit more depressed on like trying to get with other girls. So I decided to work on my hobbies, my personal being and stuff, and I also wanted to work on school because I wasn't doing too well. So I decided to pick up on YouTube. At the time, YouTube wasn't like a huge thing as it is now, where there's a ton of commentators and there's a ton of people who are just into the whole thing. Back then it was relatively new, and not a lot of people knew about it, and I was getting into it because of the community, more or less, because the community just was so awesome. I felt like everyone was literally working together and like helping each other out with like comments on how to improve your videos, but at the same time like comments on how to improve your content. I don't know, it was just a great time. It was like the Renaissance era of YouTube. So because I was into YouTube so much, I was looking up and I found out that there was a New York City gathering in the summer. Back then there was no VidCon, there was no Playlist Live or anything like that. It was just, you know, get as much gatherings as possible, and this one was going to be the biggest one to date, and it was going to be in New York City. So I decided to go and see like the YouTubers that I've been following for so long, and I thought it would be a good idea. So I went all by myself. All of the friends that I've like asked, I knew friends who knew about these YouTubers, but they were like too shy or didn't want to do it, take out of their time. So I was like, alright, I'll go, I don't care, I've done these things before. I met Hideo Kojima by myself. Like all my friends were just like, no, I don't want to wait in line. I'm like, alright, I'll wait in line, I think it would be a cool idea. So yeah, anyways, I went to the gathering, and as I was there in the beginning, there was a guy there who was trying to sell his product. Basically he made an application for Twitter, allowing Twitter to make videos, because at the time Twitter didn't allow people to put up pictures or videos. So he made the idea to allow people to make videos with this app through his website, and then put it up on their Twitter post or whatever. So because he wanted to do that, he had no idea like how many YouTubers were going to be there and who to talk to. And I got to know him, and I started talking to him about his application. I was like, oh, I can help you out, because I knew all the YouTubers that were going to show up there. I actually followed all of them. And I was like, yeah, I'll help you and show you where each one of them are. So at the end of the day, after he was like negotiating with everyone, he was like, wow, like that was awesome of you to do that. Please send me your email. I would like to keep in touch with you, and I want to give you a job interview if you're interested. And I was like, yeah, that sounds awesome. Like working on a TwitVid application, I thought that was gonna be sick. So I started talking to him afterwards, and I ended up getting the job. There's not many people there. I'm not trying to say that there was like an open opportunity for me to get there, but there wasn't as many people there who knew the YouTube scene and how to market for the YouTube scene. So anyway, so I started getting into Twitter more, and because I got into Twitter more, I started to talk to the guy who made the gathering, because I was interested in helping or trying to figure out a way to make another gathering, because I thought it was such a good idea. It was like awesome to meet all these YouTubers. And in the process of talking to the creator, or like one of the guys who helped make the gathering, there was a girl who started talking to both of us because we both had an interest in DC Universe, mainly Batman. And this girl started talking to him, and then I also started talking to her too because of like the pictures that he would put up, and I'd be like, oh man, this Batman is awesome, I love the way that they designed him, his storyline in this one, he's so dark or whatever. So then I started talking to this girl. Her name was codename Nessie, and so I started talking to her more and more, and soon enough, like, I started DMing her, I started private messaging her or whatever, and then I started talking to her, and soon enough I exchanged phone numbers with her because it was starting to get like, I don't know why, but it started getting more serious, and yeah, I was like, yeah, I'm down to talk to you, but away from Twitter and stuff. I think that would be pretty cool. But then it started turning into like some sort of a relationship thing. So I was like, all right, well, I'll see how this goes, considering I'm probably never going to see this girl. She lived in San Diego, California, and I lived in New York City. It's like 7 hours away. No way that this is ever going to, happen. So, we're talking more, and I find out that she has like a sort of like a base, like not a fan base, but like a community of sorts. There was like a British girl, and there was like another girl from California. There was it was basically like a bunch of girls in the beginning, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool, like I get to meet all these girls. But I found out that they were all younger than me, so I was like, I don't know. And so yeah, so then we started talking more and more, and the way that we expressed our feelings with one another in terms of like our experience and our history, we would go on Tumblr and talk about just like what we used to do and how we felt about it and all this stuff. So on my Tumblr to this day, it's basically like a history book as to when I started dating this Nessie girl on Twitter, all the way up to maybe a sophomore year of college or junior year of sorts, when I just gave up on Twitter, Facebook, all that stuff. I just gave up on it because I usually don't like that kind of stuff. Anyways, so yeah, more and more we started like talk about like our stuff, our feelings, our history, or whatever, and more we started to disconnect from one another for some reason. I think it was because she thought that I wasn't being really serious about our relationship, but that's because, hello, we're not going to see each other, and this is basically on the internet. So she kind of felt offended by that, which is fine. And we stopped. I think she just stopped talking to me. I think she just like stopped coming out like on Twitter or like sending me messages on text or whatever. And that, I think, is when it got even more complicated, because after that, more dudes started to show up on this little community that we had, and more girls, like her friend, would text message me and would say like, hey, you're being a meanie, you're being a douchebag because you're treating this girl like this, blah blah blah. And I'm like, what the heck, like this is very, very weird. And keep in mind, these girls like constantly put photos of each other, of themselves, like day to day. So I'm like, wondering what's going on and stuff. So more, as time goes on, in the summer, I started following this one girl who's like 14 years old, but she was more like a sister to me, because I don't know, like I felt like she was like my sister in a sort of way. She was like very nice. She was going through a lot of problems. One time she was streaming on Ustream, just trying to talk to people or whatever, and I remember her father came in and basically beat her in front of me and her friend, because her friend was also there in real life. And I was like, holy crap. So she kept the camera on just so she can show everyone that, yeah, she's not going through the best of things right now. And I was like, holy crap. So I try to consult with her a little more, try to help her out, try to get through like this big part of her life right now, because it's rough, especially when you're 14 years old and you're like basically going through this stuff. It's like really rough. And I forgot to mention that these girls were in this community were all emo / scene girls, mostly scene. So basically they had like the big poofy hair and stuff, and they were very like punkish or whatever. I don't know how to describe it. Just Google scene girls, and that's basically who these girls were. So anyways, yeah, so then this girl that I was talking to, the 14-year-old girl, she started going out with this guy on Twitter, and for some reason this guy decided to commit suicide and fake it on Twitter by saying that he committed so he lived in New York City. That was one. And two, he said that he committed suicide on a bridge, the Brooklyn Bridge here. And I was like, what? Are you serious? So I started looking up more and more information, and there are reportings of people, you know, committing suicide and that, and there hasn't been like any direct post on the newspapers or whatever. But his sister, you know, air quotes sister, put up a newspaper article saying that he had died on the Brooklyn Bridge on this day. And that girl went hysterical. She did, like, you know, the only person that really, I guess she had a connection to the most, because it was an intimate connection, basically committed suicide. And after that I was like, are you serious? Like, this is, I'm starting to realize this community is based on some sort of game, you know, where you're doing like this storyline, but people at the same time are getting hurt. I don't know if Nessie was super hurt when I did what I did, but come on, like, I was just being reasonable. At the end of the day, I realized that the people on this community were lying. So so me, I was like, okay, I'm not going to risk my personal information. I'm going to also fake my identity. So I played as I just like took a character from, I don't know, like this indie guy, and I put him up as my picture. I also changed my name. My name was always Ari, so I couldn't change my name. I wanted to change it to James, but it didn't work out. And after I did that, there was a couple of people who knew that I like had changed my identity, and so they were like, okay, I need you to do this for me, because I also wanted to change the way that my character is. And I was like, wait, so this community has become like some sort of like a dramatization of famous people, or like people that we aren't, like, is that it? And when I realized that, I was like, well, some of you guys actually do need this, because I fear for your lives that there's some of these guys or whatever that are trying to come after you. So I ended up becoming the forger, and later on I was nicknamed Photoshop. So that is where my IGN came from. The guy who forged these girls in different scenarios in order to protect them. Specifically, there was the British girl that I wanted to protect because she was super chill, and the 14-year-old because she was going through a lot, and I didn't want to have to, you know, I didn't want her to have to go through more that she already had. So after all that, I decided to end. So once I like helped everyone as much as I could, I told them, like, just get out. You can't be on Twitter anymore. You need to leave. And I left. I told them I'm leaving. I can't do this because this is too serious. This is becoming like a little bit too creepy at the same time. So then Nessie, what had happened with Nessie is that we ended up getting back together, but once she found out that I was playing as a character, she didn't know that I was playing as a character, but when she found out that I was playing as a character who was also on YouTube, she was like really interested in me. She wanted to like hear me play music all the time, and she wanted me to call her, and I told her I couldn't do that because at the time in senior year I had a girlfriend, which I'll probably talk about later, but yeah, I had a girlfriend, and I told her I couldn't take this more seriously, so we stopped talking. Then in freshman year of college, at the end, we started talking again. She texted me And we started talking again, but we stopped talking again. Then sophomore year, she called me, and I didn't know who it was. I was like, who is this? But she started talking to me more, and I was like, oh, that's cool, that's cool. And yeah, so then she called me, her friend, like, then basically we started talking again because I didn't have anyone. Sophomore year, I didn't have anyone, like, really. So, because Claire happened the junior year after that. So, yeah, so we started talking more and more, and we started getting even more serious on the phone, to the point where I did phone sex. That was the first experience I had phone sex, because, I don't know, I was so surprised how soft sounding she was, and how chill she was about everything. I don't know, she was just a very, very sound person. I couldn't believe that she was exactly who I thought she was on Twitter in terms of a personality. She was like super chill. But things started getting even more weird because one day I like stayed up all night, and I told her about everything, like every little secret that I had in my life, and she told me hers, and like it was basically like, wow, like this is serious. I think I'm starting to fall the L again, you know, the love word, the L word, the meow word, and I thought this was serious, so I thought I had to go see her. But junior year December, I started to talk to her again on the phone and stuff, and she started getting really pissed at me because I wasn't giving her any time anymore, and that I was being unfair to her. But I was like, at the same time, you're not really doing anything for me. I've played so many things. I've played like the piano so many times for you. This was also at a time where I was learning the piano for her. I was playing the piano so much for her, and she did absolutely nothing back to me. So I was like pissed about that, and I also felt like there was nothing to go on because I found out she lied to me. She was playing the user Katie Skadoske, because I started watching the show called Catfish on MTV, and I looked up on the Google Images her pictures, and I found that her name was Katie Skadoske. So I confronted her about it, and she was like, oh no, that's not me, but this is me. All the girls in the community were doing that. Then when I saw the picture again, I looked up the picture, and it seemed legit, but I was very confused because it was an Asian girl. And the entire time I was like, this isn't an Asian girl that I've been talking to this whole time. Like, she seemed like Indian or something. So I knew she was lying, and I said, alright, well, that's it. That's game over between us. And yeah, we haven't talked since, even though it's been huge part of my life. So yeah, I guess I want to thank you guys for watching, as always, for the support, and I will see you guys next time. So take care. See ya.